Hello YouTube, Charlie here. So I'm back out at one of those spots that I wanted to hit and check out. I'm not too far off the bank. As you can see, there's my backpack, my pails. I got a new classifier that I made up. And I got little Charlie with me today.
Sorry, trying not
but
to fall in.
as I was getting underneath this one big boulder I just moved, it's a good sign that there's heavies in that spot as a piece of iron. So I'm going to keep digging underneath this big rock that's right here. I moved a couple of bigger rocks out of the way and tried to slow down the flow a little bit so it's easier to dig. As you can see in here, there's some abalone shells and everything too. River clams or whatever you want to call them. But underneath this rock there's a bunch of gravels underneath the bottom of it, and that's where I just got this out of. So I'm going to keep digging that, get it all set up, and get ready to run the sluice. So much different when the water's dropped. But I'll be back. So the water is running a little too fast for us to be able to use our sluices here. And it's really hard to find a decent location to get them set up. There's a lot of jagged rocks and different changes in elevation here, making it really hard to get set up. So we got 2 buckets classified down, and we're going to bring those home with us, run the material, and see what we got. We did do a couple sample scoops out of the buckets, and we were finding some really nice flour gold. So we'll take it home and run it through my recirculating system, and we'll show you what we get. Charlie's over here busy everything up, and we're gonna get packed up and get home. I got some gravels and stuff I got to push back in, and a few of those bigger rocks to drop back. And I mean, this is the size of some of those rocks that I had to move.
That one's even bigger.
Yeah, the one over here is even bigger. Little Charlie will show you here the size of it with a shovel. I mean, that doesn't do it any justice there, little man. You got to show him the outside edge of the shovel. All right, like here's the edge there, and goes all the way around, back this way, and around, back to that point. And it's a massive rock. I'm gonna flip it back into place here, and I'll have little Charlie take the camera there. It wasn't a small rock. And neither was this one here. There's all sorts of little nooks and crannies underneath in here. We have larger gravels and cobbles that I might want to come back and see more iron. And that was just with my hand.
I found a huge metal wire. Threw it up on the bank. Bye-bye, rock.
Easy enough to get moved.
I'm gonna move this one.
These gravels here, just gonna scrape back into this hole right here and cover everything up. So I'll be back in a sec. So yeah, looking around here, there's definitely a bunch of awesome spots to check out. But there's this huge boulder over here, and as you can see, we're on bedrock. There's fractures in it. There's good crevices. Awesome spots to check out. You got this big boulder here, and this offlow here. You can see some awesome gravels in between all these rocks along the edge of this boulder in here. It looks like there's a big metal plate right here. What's that? See if we can get this out of here and take it with us. Nope, nope. Just a piece of wood. It looked like something metal. But there's a bunch of awesome spots in here. The water's still moving quite fast. I want to go look upstream a little bit, see what that looks like. But usually throughout here, this water is not moving this fast at all. Back over beyond that other boulder is where we were working before. But I want to see what it looks like further up that way. I'll be back in one sec. Fields are just loaded with all these large rocks. Just all over. A lot of these had to be moved and pushed out of the way here for making this little road back in here. And Charlie's climbing all over right now.
Not my fault I like climbing.
They got some awesome campsites down here. A lot of hiking trails and ATV trails. And most of the campsites are right along the water, unless you've got an RV or some sort of camper. They have different sites for those. But I wanted to come up and check to see what the water looked like up here. See how deep it is too. But there's just huge, huge boulders all over in this creek. A lot of places I want to try and check out, but I'll keep you guys updated, and hopefully by my birthday I can get some people out here to join me. So thank you everybody. See you back home. So I've started panning out some of the dirt that I've brought home from little Charlie. I did run some of it through my clean out sluice up, or my recirculating sluice up there, and I've got some of the concentrates in the pan and still some over here in this pan that I got to go through. This is all my plus kitchen strainer stuff that I got. For the location that I was at, I wasn't really expecting to find a whole lot because I was just off the bank, but I'm actually finding nice little bits of flower gold, which is surprising for where I was at because it was mostly like sand material, and there was a few spots like underneath the rocks where I was able to get heavier material. And I have another surprise for everybody. Check this out. I shaved. Different look, huh? Tell me what you think. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. And as you can see, at this location, it's finding all sorts of bits of iron and steel, or whatever you want to call it, heavies in this location. So there's other spots where I just couldn't get to because the water was too deep or moving too fast. But in this spot, I was finding larger chunks than even this piece here, and you can see my finger there, that are all in the same spot. So it's got to be a decent location. I'm finding heavies, so we'll just have to pan through it and see what we got. And in that last one, as you can see right here in front of my finger, there's some really tiny pieces in here. See that? Right there in front of my finger. There's a couple more little pieces of flower gold right there. Get those snuffed up and put back into the snuffer bottle, and finish going through the rest of that from that first bucket. And then over there, I still have another half bucket of concentrates that I gotta go, or material that I dug to go through. And I'll run that through this recirculating sluice and then pan out the concentrates from the mat. So stay tuned for that, and I'll be right back. So I had to switch over to my smaller sluice with the B mats because the material that I got, there's a lot of like fine quarter inch, like less than quarter inch, but gravels in it, and all it was doing, as you can see, like down here in green mat, is just plugging everything up. So I switched over to my V mat, and I'm running that at the moment. I'm almost done with this bucket, and then once I'm done with this, I'll pan it out and I'll show you guys what I got. For where I was digging, I actually got a lot more than I was expecting to find, just because I couldn't get out into the deeper water like I wanted to. But other than that, I'll keep you guys updated and let you guys see what I got at the end of the day here. I'm not expecting it to be an incredible amount of gold, but I'm getting some gold. It's more than I expected, so I'll keep you posted and I'll be back. So, like I said before, here's the snuffer dump from what I got that day. I'll zoom in here for you. You can see there's a few flakes right there in front of my finger, some fly poops, and then there's some micro fine gold along with that. I was only like 5 feet off the bank on a shelf of bedrock. There was mostly sand in there, but there were gravels like this and some larger gravels in there as well, about this size right here, you know, so decent sized gravels and larger chunks of like granite, or at least it looks like granite, but I can't tell. It's all super dark. The water out there is really dark as well. Yeah, that's a piece of granite as well. I'll have to check a few other spots and locations out there. It's just with the way that the water is lately, I can only get so far out there, and I can't get out into the creek like I want to. I am going to go to the spot where I scouted the location from Saturday, and I will be going out there and checking out around that boulder and that little eddy that went off to the side, and I'll scout down by that gravel beach and check all that out. So expect a video on that, and I will be going live Saturday at 8 to cover for JP. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching. Good night, everybody.